I am live. Calix Boxing 2.0. And shout out to anybody over there on X watching this. We got X, and about 80% of my viewers are over there on X. So make sure, if y'all can, pull up the YouTube, hit that like button if you're over on X, and then just go right back to X. That's fine. Views are views. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And it's Friday, fellas. It's Friday. It's the weekend feeling. I'm happy. What'd your boy say in that song? Uh, it's Friday night and I feel all right. The party's here on the west side. So I reached for my 40 and I turned it up. Designated driver took the keys to my truck. Hit the shutters. Y'all haven't heard me sing in a while. Y'all haven't heard me sing in a while. Shout out to Chauncey Pearls. Y'all think Benavidez is going to show out this Saturday or look mediocre? In my opinion, I don't think he would look as dominant as he did at 68. That's one theory. And I talked about the two theories, right? Either he could not look as dominant at 168 against bigger fighters, or, and I tend to lean more on this side of it, Chauncey. I tend to lean more on he's not going to be as weight drained. He's going to come out fresher. He's going to be able to put a little more pressure, although the pressure might not be as exhausting to his opponent. I also have another theory on that a bigger target, he's used to fighting smaller targets, right? That can move a little better naturally as smaller guys are able to do. He's going to have a bigger target in front of him. He's going to have a longer target in front of him that he could dig into the body and pause. And he may have more of an effect at 175 than 168. I tend to lean more on that. He's going to come out fresher. He may be a little quicker, faster, lighter on his feet, and not being as weight drained. And he's going to have a bigger target in front of him. We talked about how he lands 17 power shots plus per round on his opponents. And he's one of the only upper weight class fighters doing that, landing as many power shots, because it makes sense that lower weight class guys are going to land more power shots because they simply throw more. And they throw a lot of power shots. And there's a lot of action in the lower weight classes. Benavidez lands a high amount of power shots per round. We're going to see how he does as he steps up competition consistently. Can he keep that going? I think that number will naturally come down as he steps up the competition level. But I do believe that he'll land a lot more power shots at 175, having bigger targets. But then you can throw out, if he has more coming back at him, if he has a bigger guy that can take his shots in front of him, once again, pause, those guys will be more ready to throw back at him with power shots, and maybe Benavidez will be a little more gun shy. And this is what's fun about this weekend is we'll get some questions answered. How would David Benavidez look his first stop at 175? And then we'll have to ask ourselves questions after that, because he has 10 days after that fight, Chauncey, if he to win this fight, to decide whether he wants to exercise his interim belt at 175 or 168. The thing about interim belts is you're paying sanctioning fees for those as well. So you don't want to continue to pay sanctioning fees for something that is meaningless. And the WBC is giving him 10 days to decide, do you want to exercise this at 175 or 168? And I think a lot of that is going to have to do with what happens with Canelo, and more on that in a minute. But I'm interested to see what he ends up doing with that interim belt at 175. So shout out to Chauncey Pearl. Shout out to my guy Nando. And it's Friday. It's Friday afternoon. The party's here on the west side. So I reach for my 40 and I turn it up. All right. I always hit the like button before the show, and that's what I'm talking about. And the thing that I like about Wheelchair Man John is he hits the like button, he goes right back. And then he always, shout out to Wheelchair Man John, he always leaves a comment in the archive below right after the show. So I appreciate you, my brother. Montel Jordan, that's right. That's right, Montel. One of my favorite songs. One of my favorite. It just puts me in a good mood. That and Amy Grant, Baby. That's another one that puts me in a good mood. Janet Jackson, Escapade. Let me take you on an escapade. Let's go, escapade. paid. Chauncey, you going to the LA card? All right, let's see what we got. Let's see. Benavidez versus Bivol is better for Benavidez than Canelo because Bivol already beat Canelo. We got Drunk Irishman in the building as well. Chicano, damn Calix with the bars. And look, people blame me for stuff that is not my fault. And Chicano is one of them. Chicano's out there and he wants me badly to put out a pound for pound list, and I know why. He wants me to put Lomachenko number 10 so the dudes can call me all kind of names and accuse me of having tiki torches in the closet. And then he wants me to be to blame, me, yours truly, to be the blame for people saying Gallo is greater than Canelo. It's not me. I didn't do it. I just threw out that it's a conversation to be had. Never was I on the side of Gallo. Although I'm a fan of both, but he's blaming me for that. I always get blamed. And it's a style clash. I get it. I got you. So happy Friday to everyone. Already 30 over on X. If you're over on X watching this, make sure to come over to YouTube real quick, hit that like button, and just go right back over to X. Like I said, views are views. And shout out to the 20 people over on YouTube. And YouTube's algorithm has been messing with us again, but it is what it is. Let's see. It's true. I just want Calix's pound for pound list to see the fall. I know you do. And we got clips today. We got our buddy Leonard Ellerbe, who our friend, our dear friend of the show and dear friend of the channel and dear friend of ours over on YouTube. I love Leonard because Leonard will follow me on Twitter, and I'll say he can't follow me because he likes the content, so he's following, and I know what that is. And then he'll unfollow me after a while, after berating me a couple of times, and then he'll follow me again, and then he'll berate me a couple of times, and then he'll unfollow, and then he'll follow me again, right? But our dear friend, we got to wish him happy retirement. It's our dear friend Leonard Ellerbe, who wants to spend time with the family. Leonard Ellerbe, the family man, and more on that in a minute because we got a clip from Leonard Ellerbe. We got a clip from who else? We got a clip from. Let me see. We got a clip from our buddy David Benavidez. We got a clip from Regis Prograis as it attains to to Matias. And when it comes to Matias, I think Matias versus Prograis is next, fellas. I think that's what's happening next if Matias gets past his fight. And that makes perfect sense, right? Because Prograis has one more fight with Matchroom on the contract. He's been wanting that Matias fight. Matias wants Prograis. And that was even before all of this, right? Before they were both Matchroom. And I think that's still a good fight to make. I think that's a fun fight to make. I think that's carnage, right? So let's see. But our dear friend Leonard Ellerbe, more on that in a minute as well. We got to wish him happy retirement because he wants to spend more time with his family. Because this is the thing: when you're a CEO of a boxing promotion, when you're the CEO, the thing is, especially when you have such a deep roster as Mayweather Promotions, it's time consuming. It takes up a lot of time, and that's what people don't realize. He's been taking a lot of time away from his family, dealing with that humongous deep roster of Mayweather Promotions. So he just needs some time. He needs to spend some time with his family. So he's going to spend some time with his family. So we wish Leonard nothing but success. We wish him nothing but greatness going forward. And more on that here soon. Let's see what we got. Nando Yamas. And look, I can no longer play Hardworking Man because I woke up this morning and YouTube's persecution of me, YouTube's persecution of yours truly continues. I woke up to a copyright, a strike, because I keep playing Hardworking Man. So I can no longer play. I can sing it for you. I'm a hardworking man. I'm a hardworking man. So that's to Nando Yamas, $4.99 super chat. The hardworking man. I got Oscar Collazo PR over Bama's son. my pound for pound. I'm cruel but fair. Is Bamison? Is that Bam Rodriguez? Is that what you're saying, Nando? Confirm that in the chat. Are you talking about Bam Rodriguez? Are you saying you've got Oscar Collazo over Bam Rodriguez? Because we talked about this, Nando. You and I talked about this on Elon's X. You can't look. You can, because you can do whatever you want. But the thing is with Oscar Collazo, hell of a fighter. But I would argue this: if Bam had the performance, and it's a good performance that Collazo had in his last fight, where he hit the deck early in the fight, things like that. And Oscar Collazo betrayed me, by the way, because I bet the stoppage, and I shouldn't have. I bet the stoppage, and he run a pretty, would have been a great parlay for me, a nice hit. But if Bam would have put out the thing with Bam is he puts people to sleep. The thing with Bam is he'll finish the job if he has somebody in front of him. That's the difference. Like it's not only the eye test, it's not only the resume, it's the performance level of it is also that's what Bam's. So I just can't entertain Collazo over Bam right now. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. The hard work. Yeah, a lot of people are getting tired of the hard working man too. I'm a hard working man. On Elon's X. Yeah, pause that. Pause that. My bad on that. My bad. Eye test for once. I got it. He's got skills. He's the best from PR right now. But guess what? Nando's going to be really triggered when he sees my pound for pound list and he sees Loma on there and not Oscar Collazo. He's going to be really, really triggered. And I like Collazo. I got him somewhere between 11 and 15 right now. He's just not quite there yet. Right now, I'll give you this, Nando. You think I'm hyping up Jaya Opataya a little more? I got Collazo above Jaya Opataya right now. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Yeah, I think we got a snitch. And Leonard is gone. Don't laugh, D-Style. Don't laugh. How dare you? D-Style is laughing at Leonard, our dear friend Leonard. Leonard is spending more time with his family, D-Style. And that's commendable. We like family men. We like that. So spend more time with your family. D-Style, what you need to understand is this. When you're the CEO of a promotional company that's as deep as Mayweather Promotions, when you look at how deep that roster is, it takes a lot of time. It's very time consuming, D-Style. So he has to just take a break. He's got to spend time with his family. That's what he's got to do. So just relax, D-Style. Stop hating on this dude. This dude is he's always hating on Leonard. And that's Leonard's probably coming at me all the time because D-Style's hating on him. Just guilty by association. But as far as these fights this weekend, fellas, before we get into news and notes, and all the clips, we got video clips today, and we'll break them down. I just wanted to wrap this up with a pretty bow going into these fights tomorrow. What Tank and Sabril and David all have in common is exciting fighters. First of all, they're all exciting fighters. They all like to put dudes to sleep. Pause. And they like to entertain, fun fighters, and maybe a little overvalued right now, all of them, because the eye test screams talent. It screams talent. But what do we talk about? That bubble, right? That PBC bubble. We talk about things can be very deceiving when we're looking into that bubble. And maybe, just maybe, these guys look a little better than they actually are, right? And Matias comes from that bubble. Now he's out of it. So possibly a little overvalued if you look at the betting odds. Not a deep resume on any of these guys, and for different reasons, because Matias would prefer a strong resume if you ask him, but he just can't get the fights right now. More on that in a minute when we talk about Regis Prograis and his clip. But pause. But eye test, it flies, right? We all see it. And we've all been asking these guys to step up the competition level. Let's just talk about Tank and David when we talk about that, and Matias not as much because, like I said, that's out of his hands. So this weekend isn't going to solve that problem. We're not going to look at Frank Martin. They're going to try, right? They're going to try to say Frank Martin was this great fighter, and they're going to try to say Vodzik with a silent G was such a boogeyman at 175 or whatever, and they're going to try to say Liam Parot, whatever. You know how they do. But when it comes to the opposition this weekend, it's not going to give us that because what do we have? We have Vodzik with a silent G. What is it? It's 2024. He took 3-4 years off after the Better BF beatdown. This isn't the same guy that was fighting 2015 to 2019. This is 2024 Vodzik. There's a reason he's there, just like there's a reason that Frank the Tank is fighting Tank Davis this weekend. There's a reason that those guys were put there, and those guys were put there as opposition to lose. So Vodzik with a silent G isn't going to present that for us. That's that step up. And in 2024, 37 years old, I would argue he's well past it. I would argue possibly he's washed. We'll see. With Frank Martin, same thing. We don't know as much as we should know about Tank Davis. We don't know as much as we should know about David Benavidez. We don't know as much as we should know about Subriel Matias. They have all that in common, all the A sides. And what the B sides have in common is we don't know much about those guys either. 37-year-old Vodzik with a silent G. Who is he? We'll find out. Big step up from him from what he was facing in 2023. So who is he? We'll find out. Frank Martin, 30-year-old prospect, only 2 12-rounders. And one of those 12-rounders, he arguably got a big gift. Who is he? We just don't know. We don't know much about Frank Martin. We just don't know. And what do we know about Liam Parot? Not much. 24-0, but the opposition level isn't much there. So is he a domestic level guy? Is he a guy who can beat a Montana Love and that's it? Not much above that? Or is he a legit guy? We'll find out. We'll find out. But right now, a lot of wild cards. With Matias, a lot of wild cards going in. Homecoming fight. Stepping out of that PBC bubble. He's got a nice trend of 5 straight no mas fights. Can he continue that? There's a trend of guys at a certain level being able to string together maybe a handful of good fights, but then they fall flat on their face. So will that trend continue? Will that bite Matias? So a lot of question marks here. Ultimately, I think the smartest play as far as betting odds, I think the most value out there that I've seen is Tank Davis by stoppage minus 175. I think that's close enough to even territory to plus territory, and I'm pulling that up right now to see if that's still the case. Tank Davis minus 175, I think for a stoppage, I think is a good play. I think the betting odds may be giving Frank Martin a little too much credit to possibly survive in this fight. And I could be wrong about that. Once again, we just don't know that much about these guys. But yeah, Tank Davis still minus 175, fellas, to KO Frank Martin. And will the fight go the distance? Yes, if you think so, plus 164. No, minus 215. But the play that I'm doing is minus 175 Tank Davis coupled with in a 2-fight parlay with Matias, stoppage minus 300 to give me the plus 109. So I'm in plus territory there, and that's the best I got. Look, I'm always transparent here. I don't have a great feel on what's going to happen this weekend because there are so many question marks with all 6 of these fighters that are fighting in the big fights. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm honest. I'm transparent. A lot of people are going to be out there telling you, I know this is happening, but who knows, man? Maybe Frank Martin comes out. Maybe Parot is stronger than we thought. Maybe Vodzik can turn back the clock and we get fights. Maybe perhaps these other guys are stepping into cherry picks gone wrong. Perhaps that's happening. So we'll see. We'll see if one of these guys at least can pull off the upset. Let's get to some news and notes. Let's get to some clips here. Let's what clip are we gonna play here? Let me get with my production manager, who is also me, by the way, and let's get to some clips. Let's get this one out of the way real quick. This is no, not that one, not that one. This one. Let's just do this one real quick. This is Regis Prograis speaking about, and this is Everything Boxing sharing this. This is Regis Prograis. I think this is on Regis Prograis' own channel. And Regis Prograis is giving a message to Subriel Matias, the boogeyman at 140.
Fuck you, Matias.
Oh.
Fuck Matias. Don't talk all that shit. You gotta fight tomorrow. Go out there, win, do your thing. You talking all that shit. Don't go losing, because I'm coming after you. Fuck Matias.
Wow. Wow, fellas. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, so this is Regis Prograis speaking like this to Subriel Matias, and this isn't how dudes normally speak to Subriel Matias. Generally, when Matias's name comes up, they get a little cat got your tongue. They get a little bit of I'm not really interested in talking about that guy when his peers speak about him, right? So that tells us a lot about Matias, because we know a lot about fighters by how their handlers handle him. And I think Eddie Hearn wants to be aggressive with Matias. And we learn about a lot about fighters by how their peers speak about them. So his peers in and around the weight class seem to not want to go around Matias, but Regis Prograis is the exception to that rule. So why would that be? Now, to give Matias and Prograis credit, they've been wanting to fight with each other. They've been wanting to lock horns. Pause. The battle of the worst. So they've been wanting that fight, to give them credit, but it also makes sense for both of them at this time, right? Because Prograis doesn't have much going for himself. Two of the worst performances back to back in modern boxing history. And I mean that. And this hurts me to say this, because Prograis is a hometown guy. He's a hometown fighter. But it hurts me to say he put out two of the worst statistical fights in CompuBox history, back to back against Zorilla and Haney. Just awful. Just awful. So anybody seeing that was like, all right, green light, we can go fight that guy now. Because it was once upon a time Prograis was an avoided fighter at 140. Not so much anymore. Now, why you... I just said, Chicano once again is hating. I just said, two terrible performances. This guy's putting out back-to-back terrible performances, but this is the thing. Like, Eddie Hearn needs to do something with him, because he's got him for 3 fights. So imagine signing a guy to a 3-fight deal, and he fights the first fight, just drops a gigantic turd in the ring. And then you're like, okay, that's a one-off. And then he goes into a second fight and just drops an even bigger, gigantic turd just all over the place, just diarrhea everywhere. And you're like, all right, what do I do with that guy for the third fight? Where do I go with this? So this is cash out territory is what I'm saying, fellas. You're at cash out territory for Prograis. Third fight, we got to do something with the guy. So let's feed him. Let's feed him to the monster. Let's feed him to somebody. And if we get lucky, maybe he pulls off the upset, then we could do something with him. But if not, just feed him to that. He's out the door anyway. Just feed him to Matias. So that's what Prograis got going for himself. Is Prograis complained for a while, although some of it's to his doing, business decisions. But he complained for a while about not getting the fights, being avoided. Well, he's not anymore. Haney stepped up to the plate. Haney saw him just walk into the ring and drop a gigantic turd against Zorilla and said, all right, we good now. And then drop another gigantic turd. So everybody's going to be saying, oh, I'll fight the guy. So that's Matias. And for Matias, it makes sense, because I think even after this fight, let's say he destroys Pero in Puerto Rico. That's still Puerto Rico. You got to go to Puerto Rico to get 10,000 fans. You're not a draw in America. Maybe you will become a draw. Who knows? So guys still won't be coming to the table right away for Matias. And I think even Eddie Hearn, if you watch his recent interviews, acknowledges that it may take a little while to get people to come to the table. So that's where Prograis comes into play. It's like, that's an acceptable opponent. That's a fight that people will get excited about. It's guaranteed carnage. Prograis not going anywhere. Prograis, if anybody has bricks and anchors around their feet, it's Prograis right now. That guy is going to be stationary as you can possibly be. He's going to be there to get hit. He's going to hit back. It's going to be fun. So just go make that fight. That's all I'm saying. Go make that fight. Yeah, he did. It's like that 50 Cent song. Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. Against Zepeda, you was the man, homie. And that's Prograis right now. He was once the man, not anymore. Not anymore. Let me get to the next clip. Let me get my producer, who is also me, to pull up this clip. Let's see. This is Sean Zittle. And Sean Zittle says, Leonard Ellerbe told me with a resounding no, that he wouldn't be leaving Mayweather Promotions earlier this week. After 25 plus years of working alongside Floyd Mayweather, the two have reportedly split. Let's hear from our dear friend, our good friend of the show and of the Twitterverse, Leonard Ellerbe. Nice shades, by the way. This dude, nice drip. About to go spend time with his family, and he possibly doesn't know it. Let's see.
I know you don't think Twitter holds a lot of substance, but did you see some of the rumors?
No, you don't think. I love that. I love how that starts. I know you don't think Twitter holds a lot of substance. And that dude is all over Twitter all the time. He is out there policing Twitter like you would not believe. He's out there policing Twitter like old school Chips, right? And he's out there, he's policing Twitter. And anybody who says anything bad about his fighters, I have no idea how he finds this stuff. He's out there with a magnifying glass on Twitter and he's policing the area. And if you say something bad about one of his few fighters, boy. But he doesn't hold, we don't hold much weight to Twitter, right?
I know you don't think Twitter holds a lot of substance, but right. Did you see some of the rumors flying around about Leonard might be leaving Mayweather Promotions?
Man, I don't listen to none of that stuff. I'm doing what I do.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I do.
Is there any truth to any of that?
No.
That's a resounding no.
No. I love it. No. There's no truth to it. Except there actually is. Because he's gone. So thing is, once again, and I hate to harp on this, but when you're the CEO of a company, there's a lot that comes with it. It's time consuming, particularly when you're the CEO of a promotional brand that has a very, very well-known deep roster in boxing. And it is very time consuming. So it comes a certain point, even after working 25 years with someone, 12 years as CEO, however long it's been, there comes a point in time where you got to step away and spend time with your family. So that's where Leonard is, and that's how it's being reported, right? But in all seriousness, what is this, fellas? What is this? And this always seems to happen around when Tank fights. Is there always seems to be like some sort of dust up, and they generally get it together around this time and all come together, right? Like they form like Voltron, and they all come together and they work in unison. But this time, the same dust up came, but the dust up ended up being a real dust up. And Tank, from what we learned at the press conference, hates Floyd now. He hates Floyd. And he actually started to love Leonard again. So I think Floyd decided enough. And Floyd's going to get rid of Leonard. And, what does Leonard really do? Who knows? He seems replaceable, right? The thing is, you want to make yourself irreplaceable. And I don't think Leonard's ever done that. I think Leonard's been milking the cow, right? And he's been enjoying a nice, cozy figurehead position at a laundromat that's been washing a lot of money for a decade plus. And now he's off that. I don't know. Maybe he was given a severance pay. out of this, I don't know, but now he's off the gravy train. And that's what it is. And you got to present it a certain way. You got to present it as, I got to go spend time with my family all of a sudden. And who knows what happens with Mayweather Promotions at this point. They're going to LA, Richard Schaefer. So that would tell me that Floyd's trying to get something going. Floyd sees what Turkey Al-Sheikh has in the plans. And I think all of these promotional companies are trying to stay alive and trying to position themselves in which they can work and exist in this Turkey Al-Sheikh big orbit galaxy, right? Because this is now Turkey Al-Sheikh's galaxy all around us. And you have to find a way to fit into that, or you're going to go extinct. And I think everybody's fighting for position right now. There are rumors that in August, we're finally going to see a PBC non-pay-per-view on Amazon. And possibly PBC is trying to do the same thing, sign a few fighters, make themselves a little bit viable or viable for Turkey Al-Sheikh to do something with. And all these guys are just trying to stay alive and fight for position, right? And maybe that's what Mayweather Promotions is doing by moving to LA, Richard Schaefer. Because Lord knows Leonard Ellerbe is not going to help in any way. So what the hell is he going to do? What's he going to do? Carry a spit bucket to the meeting? I don't know. What's he going to do? Let's get to the next clip. And look, Canelo derangement syndrome is a real thing. We know that. I've highlighted it. I've highlighted what it is. I've highlighted that it destroys brain cells. It makes people short circuit. And I want you to know that you're entitled to opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You're just not. And people just aren't going to let you say things and get away with it, especially when they're not true. So you're entitled to your opinion, not entitled to your own facts. So let me get the underpaid producer, who is myself, by the way, of the show, to pull this up, and let's just share this. This is David Benavidez speaking about Canelo, and I love how he starts this. He starts this as, I want to let you guys know something else. Let me share this. Do y'all see this? Let me see. Yeah, it's up there. Okay, let's go. All right, here we go. Producer, press the play button.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views.
Hold up. Stop the clip. And this is like 6 seconds in. This is 6 seconds in already, fellas. It's 6 seconds in. 6 seconds in. And he's saying this guy's making the most money and he's charging you for the pay-per-views. All right, let me do that again. Re-rack that. Let me see.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views.
He's charging you so much for the pay-per-views, is what he says. Let me ask you a question. And you talk about a walking contradiction. And this is sad to see, because once again, you're entitled to your opinions, not entitled to your own facts. So let's destroy some narratives real quick. And this is sad because I like what's going on with Benavidez right now, mostly since 2023. He's fighting Caleb Plant. He's fighting Boo Boo Andrade, although that's not Morrell Jr. More on that in a minute. And Vodzik with a silent G, although that's not Morrell Jr. By the way, more on that in a minute. But, you know, he's got something going a little bit now. He's got something going. And you want to like the guy because he's a likable guy. He seems like a family guy. He's a likable dude. No need to turn the heel. But if anybody is overcharging for pay-per-views, if there's anybody out there that's not pay-per-view worthy, that's charging people pay-per-views, one of the guys is David Benavidez. Was David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant pay-per-view worthy to you guys? Put it in the chat. How many people think David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant was pay-per-view worthy? How many don't think it was worthy? Because, quite frankly, I don't think it was worthy. And quite frankly, I think if you would have put that on regular instead of on pay-per-view, you would have been able to promote this guy better. But what happens? They put it on pay-per-view. Was David Benavidez versus Boo Boo Andrade pay-per-view worthy? Was it pay-per-view worthy? Or was it not pay-per-view worthy? These are questions I have. So is David Benavidez versus Vodzik with a silent G pay-per-view worthy, or is it not pay-per-view worthy? Apparently it's not pay-per-view worthy at a main event. And how do I know that? Because it's the co-main. And co-main means I'm on the undercard. That's what it means. So apparently the results of David Ben, and they can say that did whatever they say it did pay-per-view buys, and they can say whatever it did live gate, and they can try to get you to believe that this guy is a budding superstar and all these things, but the economics don't work. The economics don't show that. And the economics say that this guy is not a pay-per-view fighter, but yet third straight fight, he's behind a paywall. Third straight fight. We can say what we want about the investors losing money on Canelo the past 2 or 3 fights, however long it's been. And the overhead is now over what Canelo's generating and all that stuff, and investors may be losing money. But guess what? The dude's still doing 500,000 pay-per-view buys. I don't know what to tell you. We could argue that Ryder wasn't pay-per-view worthy. We can argue this stuff, right? And you can argue that stuff. But who is the guy? These dudes, man, these dudes are fighting on non-pay-per-view fights. And then in their glass house, they're going to throw stones. And they're going to throw stones at people who are way more worthy of praise than they are. Who are generating way more value to the consumer than they are. This is sad. This doesn't need to go this way. And once again, I will present an option. And look, I'm just a dude on the internet. It is what it is, man. I understand that, but I would like to present this dude with an option of a different way he can go on how to handle this. If he has a publicist, maybe that publicist can watch the show and steer this guy in the right direction of how to answer these questions and how to go about this to where it's beneficial to him both competitively and financially, because his team is an absolute mess. An absolute mess. Pitbull Cruz, the real co-main king, recognize he is. D-Style's going to come after you for that. D-Style is the Isak Cruz police. He's the Isak Cruz publicist. He's not going to like that, Nando. He is not going to like that. By the way, thanks for the $1.99 super chat. I'm a hard-working man. I'm a hard-working man. Nando, the hard-working man out there in the air conditioner with the headphones on, watching the iPad or whatever he's watching as people out there suffer in the heat, as his workers out there suffer in the heat. Shout out to Nando, but he's still a hard-working man. Let's get deeper into this. Pause. Let's hit the play button. Let's just start it from the beginning and let it go.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. No. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. All
right. So 7 more seconds. So he's spitting in your faces. Do y'all feel like Canelo's spitting in your faces? We got a good bit of Canelo fans here, I think. So do you feel like Canelo's spitting in you guys' faces? Possibly. So this is what I've said about Canelo for a while. And let's just start it here. Is Canelo started with the Mexican fan base, right? And he grew that fan base into a universal fan base over time. Even his haters initially, and I know this because I went to a bunch of Canelo fights, and I knew dudes personally who would go to Canelo fights to see him lose. They didn't like him. They didn't like Canelo, and then over time they became fans. And if you look at my old videos, I kept them up. I was a dude who, I hate to say this, like, I was one of the dudes before the Golovkin fight saying he's not going to fight Golovkin. This looks like a duck. This looks like a duck. And then within 17 months, fellas, 17, 18 months of becoming lineal champion at middleweight, he signs a contract to fight Golovkin. So I made myself to look bad in the past as well when it comes to Canelo. But he starts off with that Mexican fan base, and he grows into a universal fan base just by fighting the fights, by behaving like a fighter and fighting the fights. and giving us entertainment value, right? And you can nitpick, fellas, anybody's career. There are dudes now who are, with the revisionist history, nitpicking Pacquiao's career. And if he didn't do steroids, look how big his head is. It looks like Barry Bonds. There are dudes who will nitpick anything. They'll nitpick. Look, you can do that with Floyd. You can do that with Oscar. You can do that with Sugar Ray Leonard. You can do that with Tommy Hearns. You can nitpick anybody's career. If you would have fought this guy at this time, you fought that guy at that time. If you wouldn't have fought this at a catch weight, rehydration clause there. You can do that with anybody's career. Correct? Canelo went out and actively, through actions, got his universal fan base by behaving like a fighter. I've said this over and over. I'm going to sound like a broken record. I didn't walk through the door wanting to like a Mexican dude who looks like Opie from Happy Days, or whatever the dude's name is, Richie Cunningham, who rides white horses on the beach and wears golf clothes too tight. But guess what? Here I am. Just because, why wouldn't I like the dude? He fights the fights. So he's done that over a decade plus, right? He's given us the fight. So why wouldn't I like that dude? Why am I going to hate the dude just to hate the dude? That's weird. So now we're here. And what I've said is the only person who can detach Canelo's fan base from Canelo is Canelo. The media did not build Canelo. They're going to try to tell you that the media did. They're going to try to tell you that this dude's a hype job, that HBO built them, that Oscar built them, that Floyd built them. Canelo built Canelo. And since Canelo built Canelo, the only person who can destroy Canelo's empire is Canelo. Nobody else can rip his base from him except him. And the only way he can do that is by no longer behaving like Canelo. And now we're at this inflection point. Now we're at this point where there are two fights in particular that people want Canelo to fight. And that's David Benavidez and Bud Crawford. So now that's why I asked the question. Do you feel like Canelo's spitting in your face? When we start to see the numbers come out, right? I really thought, I'm going to be honest with you here. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Canelo versus Munguia would do over 1 million pay-per-view buys. And if you believe the numbers, it did a little more than half that. If you look at the overhead, that's not great, right? So the market may be telling Canelo right now that, all right, on pay-per-view, the only two acceptable options you have are Benavidez and Bud. That's it. All right, so we may start to have a little bit of trouble in paradise. But the thing is, the market is going to correct the actions if they don't agree with Canelo's actions. And more on that in a minute. Let's continue to go here throughout this clip. And once again, we'll start it from the beginning.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him and they're happy with whatever he does.
All right, that right there, that right there, that's bad. That's bad. Let's rewind it a little bit. Let's rewind it a little bit. And this is just good old-fashioned hating right here. This is not good. And this is when the publicist needs to get involved, because this is not good.
He's going to fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him and they're happy with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, if you hold all the time.
So he has cult-like fans. Canelo has cult-like fans, fellas. And we've heard this before. We've heard this before. We've heard dudes online say things like this before. Canelo has cult-like fans that'll be happy with anything that he does. You guys are just zombies. You're zombies. You'll be happy with whatever. You'll like whatever. If Canelo fights a bum from the streets, 0-3, you guys are going to buy the pay-per-views because you're cult-like and you're zombies. This is what I'm talking about when I say the publicist needs to get involved, because the thing about Canelo's fan base, and it helps if you understand the market. It helps if you understand Canelo's fan base. Canelo's fan base, and I know this because I've been to fights. I've been to many of Canelo's fights. Canelo's fan base, just good old-fashioned boxing fans. That's it. And Canelo's fan base is way more diverse than you would think. People think it's just mind numb Mexican fans who are going to be happy with whatever, and they don't understand that Chavez Jr. came in with the same fan base, even more so because look at his name. Look at his name. He's Chavez Jr., the son of the legend. And he loses that base completely. How does he lose that base completely? Because he's not behaving like the dude they thought they fell in love with. They think that Mexican boxing fans are just dudes who are going to get out there and like any Mexican fighter. And David Benavidez should know that's not true because he's Mexican-American and they don't seem to be attaching themselves to him because he's not doing 500,000 pay-per-view buys. Look at Williams Zepeda. Williams Zepeda is the only fighter in the sport throwing over 100 punches per round. The most exciting fighter in the sport, throwing 20 punches per round more than anybody in the sport. And yet the Mexican fan base hasn't fully attached themselves to him yet. And he's fighting in small ballrooms. Why? The marketing's not right. There's any kind of things going on. He's not fighting as much. Canelo went out and got his fan base, and he has a versatile, diverse fan base of hardcore boxing fans on top of casuals. But being that a lot of hardcore boxing fans like Canelo, and Leonard Ellerbe has eloquently told us that there are only 150,000 to 200,000 American boxing fans left, hardcore in America. And Canelo has a lot of them already. So if you want that fan base, you know it's not a good idea. And perhaps David Benavidez can go out and get his own fan base. But good luck with that when all you're talking about is Canelo all the time. Good luck with that. But you know what's not a good idea is to attack that fan base by calling them cult-like. You know what would be the smart play? And this is the play that I've been trying to explain to David and his team for about a year now. And of course, they're not going to listen. I'm just a dude on the internet, right? But there's a way to approach this. And there's a way to approach this to where, look, you don't have to get on your knees and polish off Canelo. And it's not what I'm asking you to do. It's not what anybody's asking you to do. You have to behave like a competitor and you have to attack Canelo. That's fine. We all think you deserve the fight, bro. Like, we're all there. We're there. And that's why I'm talking about, like, we're in a dangerous territory for Canelo, because if you're not going to fight David, you're not going to fight Bud, then none of these fights are going to be acceptable. They're just not. We're there now. You're on the clock. Everybody's level-headed about this. You go after the fight by fighting the fights, and David's been doing that. We would argue Vodzik with a silent G, maybe not up to par, whatever, right? You need to have a clear and concise message throughout your team, and that doesn't help when your dad's saying one thing and then Samson Luka Wickwicks is saying one thing in Spanish and then one thing in English, and then you're saying something over here, and then y'all gonna fight Morrell Jr., and then you didn't know anything about Morrell Jr., right? It's too confusing. You need to have one message. You need to be on par. You need to be on key with that. Everybody on the team. And it helps if you don't have 4 different people saying 4 different things. So it helps that you're fighting the fights. That's good. That's good. And look, go after Canelo publicly. That's fine. Like, nobody has a problem with you saying Canelo needs to fight the fight. Canelo's scared of me. And look, it's going to look like, and perception is everything, it's going to look like to people more and more over time that it's like that movie Troy. When Brad Pitt is outside the gates and he's yelling, Hector! Hector! All the dudes know he's got to go down there. The women are like, don't go down there, Hector. Don't go down there. Achilles is too strong. He's too strong. Don't go down there. But all the dudes are like, he's got to go down there. It is what it is. This dude's calling him out. He's got to go down there and fight to the death. We're not asking anybody to fight to the death, but the more David clearly and concisely with this message calls out Canelo, the more people are naturally going to say, you got to go down there and fight that fight, Canelo. You got to do it. You got to do it. Even if David Benavidez isn't a star on his own, not even close to it, his only, and this is a sad thing, fellas, his whole claim to fame and the whole marketing scheme up to this point has been Canelo, 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 Canelo. And what we've been saying and what Nando has eloquently said in the chat for more than a year now, a couple years now, is the sad thing is David Benavidez could have been a star without Canelo. He's got all the attributes. All the attributes. That's the sad part. He could have been a star without Canelo. The dude, like, he's a marketable dude. He's a family man. He's a good dude. Look at him. He looks like a good dude. He really does. Something's off with that team. And when I watched this interview, 59 seconds, I didn't see it until Chicano showed it to me. And shout out to Fight Hub TV. Go over to them to watch the interview. I saw this on Chicano's channel. I watched it 59 seconds. I was like, I got to do a show. I can't. This is so bad. This is so bad. I got to do a show. And the thing is, you can't attack the fan base, fellas. You can't attack the fan base because it's a good fan base, and it's a fan base that I will defend because it's just good-natured, good boxing fans. It's what it is. They're not zombies. None of that. They're not low IQ people. It's a good-natured boxing fans who just want entertainment and greatness. And he's calling them cult-like because people buy Canelo's pay-per-views. And what he's not understanding is, one, you don't go after the fan base that you want. You want that fan base. And you're attacking them. And what do you think people are going to think? If I'm a Canelo fan, if I'm just a boxing fan who also likes Canelo, I'm looking at that like, I don't want to like this dude. That's not good. Number one, the publicist needs to get a hold of this. Number two, what he's not understanding is that one word that we've talked about, equity. It's like the dude who steps into a business and, you know, you may have been working there 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. And people used to do this, right? It's a lost art in the job market. People hop from job to job, right? But people used to stay within that company, and the company hires from within, and then they go up, and all of a sudden they got a nice, cozy, air-conditioned manager job, kind of like Nando, right? Nando's in the air conditioner. He's out looking out the window, watching dudes with the hard hat and the heat, right? And do all the work while he reaps the rewards. But the thing is, anybody out there, whether Nando or anybody, you worked hard to get that position over time. And of course, there's nepotism sometimes. Of course, there's some of that. But generally speaking, the rule is those people worked hard to get to that position. They built up equity within the company. And then it rubs you the wrong way when you've been working hard for this company for a decade, and then the dude walks in, he's been working 2 or 3 months, and why is this dude in the air conditioner? Why am I working so hard for less pay when this dude's making so much money and he's in there in the air conditioner, he's making so much money, and it's not right. I'm doing way more. He did it already. He got to that position for a reason. And that's Canelo and Benavidez. Benavidez is finally doing something in a 9-year career. And we've talked about, that's good. Plant, boo-boo, that's a good 2023. We've given him credit, but finally, he's doing something. And now, he's got big britches, and he's like, why is this dude? Why is his fans explaining this away and that away? And they wouldn't do that for me. There's a reason. It's called equity. Canelo has built up equity with the market. And the market, you're starting to see it. It's starting to push back a little bit. It's starting to say, yeah, Munguia is a good fighter. John Ryder's a good fighter. You know, he's a good fighter. Mel Charlo, undisputed, it's good fighters. But, you know, it'd be better, Benavidez, Bud. So, you know, those numbers will drop a little bit. The market's starting to push back a little bit for you. Instead of demonizing the market for what it is, maybe you should just get to work. Instead of complaining about this dude who has built up equity within the company, within the boxing world, he's built up equity because he's fought this fight, he's fought that fight, he's fought that fight. For the love of God, this dude fought Golovkin 3 times. You have not fought anybody close to Golovkin, and he did it 3 times. The dude fought Floyd Mayweather. Everybody's saying within his company, do not fight Austin Trout. He fights Austin Trout. Do not fight Floyd Mayweather. He fights Floyd Mayweather. Do not fight Arislani Lara. He's going to run all the way around the ring, even if you look good. You'll still have mental midgets complaining and saying you lost the fight. He still fights the fight. Golovkin 3 times. Undisputed at 168. And then you'll have a dude coming around complaining. It's generally the lazier dudes who don't want to do as much work, saying, why does he get away with that? What about his cult-like fan base? They're going to explain everything. He's spitting in your face. You don't see it? He's spitting in your face. And I ask people, you think Canelo's spitting in your face? No? All right, well, what are we doing? Canelo, Aztec 101, appreciate the $5 super chat. I'm a hard-working man. I'm a hard-working man. Canelo's scroll purse bid pushed to Tuesday after Benavidez fight. I think the fight is coming, possibly so. And I've talked about possible obstacles in the way of that fight, right? So the possible obstacle will be Turki Al-Sheikh working with Dana White. September, Mexican Independence Day weekend at the Sphere. But once again, as D-Style has said, the fight doesn't have to be Mexican Independence Day weekend. It could be September 30th. It could be whenever, right? It could be beginning of September. It could be October, whatever. The fight's the fight. The fight will sell. It's fine. So I'm all for that. And that's option 1 for me. Let's do it. Right? And it's possible. But I think Turki Al-Sheikh's going to have to bankroll it. Or possibly the PBC could get involved again. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But it's a possibility. It's a possibility. And the timing makes sense. You're right there. It makes sense. I just tend to think that Canelo, whether it's a fight in September or a fight in winter, I think one of those fights are going to be Benavidez or Bud. Because I think if not, we've reached that point I've talked about at that point. We've reached that point where the market is going to start to turn a little bit on Canelo. And I don't really see that happening. But we'll see. I'm just going off of instincts. I'm going off of what I've seen in the past. Experience. And track record. Track record is big with me. I don't know. And I think Canelo has a pretty damn good track record. But 2 things I know is he's built up a hell of a lot of equity that Benavidez just doesn't have. So once again, like who is he to be calling this out? And number 2, don't attack the fan base. Don't attack the fan base. It's just not a smart move. Not only is it low IQ, it's just like, why are you attacking just good-natured boxing fans? What is that? That's what rubs me the wrong way, because I approach this as a boxing fan first and foremost, and Canelo has a good fan base. I get tired of dudes doing this thing where they attack Canelo's fan base as, just cult-like members who you're going after good-natured boxing fans, man. It just rubs me the wrong way. Let's start it from the beginning again so everybody can see this nonsense. This is just 59 seconds of complete nonsense. This is ridiculous. Can the publicist please get control of this? Can they please get control of his team?
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, they don't tell him shit and they're happy with whatever he does. But
that's sad right there. Like that whole first 22 seconds, because the more I listen to it, the more David Benavidez is talking directly to Canelo's fans. And this isn't, like I said, this is not the way to do it. If you're a politician and you want to attract a base that you want to pull from the other person's base, you don't do it this way. This is human nature. Like, why would you disrespect the fan base and he's talking directly to Canelo's fan base, right? Don't you get tired of this guy spitting in your face? This is like the, and no disrespect, man, but it's like the girl, maybe she's a 3. I don't know. She's not great looking. Doesn't have much going for herself, but you know, she's talking to like that girl that's like an 8 or 9, and she's got everything going for herself, right? Good marriage, good relationship, all everything. But she's trying to get in there because maybe she's lonely. Maybe she wants her friend back that she go back to the club with, right? I don't know what it is, but she's like, don't you get tired of him talking to you like that? Don't you? That's what this is. This is so stupid.
At the end of the day, if you hold all the titles, you got to fight the best in the division.
That's fair. Okay, we got about 3 seconds of good right there. Because you're right. Like if you own all the titles within a certain period, if you don't fight the best in the division, if you don't fight the mandatory, whatever, then you should be stripped, right? And this is where we go after the sanctioning bodies because the WBC, right? WBC should get a handle on this. The WBC, we know the politics of it. They're not going to go after, Canelo to try to piss him off, all that stuff. We talked about that, right? So that part of it's fair. That part of it's fair, but listen to more of this.
I'm number 1 in the division, number 1 contender. The second one is David Morrell. He's not fighting me, nor he's not fighting David Morrell. So it makes no sense. How is he going to call himself the champion and have all these belts if he doesn't fight the number 1 or the number 2 guys?
That I could not believe. Listening to it, I still can't believe he said that. I still can't believe he interjected, pause, David Morrell's name into this. David Benavidez brought up David Morrell's name. He brought up David Morrell's name. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So, and look, dude, I get it. I understand, dude. I know it's not a monolith. I get that. That was my point at the beginning. I understand that not everybody from Mexico thinks alike, and not everybody from Mexico likes. I get that. That's my point. Is Canelo has a versatile, diverse fan base of just good-natured, I think, hardworking, high IQ boxing fans who just like to see good-natured boxing and entertainment value and best fighting the best. But this is this highlights once again such the cloudiness, and if ever a team, man, like needed like somebody to speak for the team and only that person speaks for the team, it's this one, because this is a mess. And he brings up David Morrell Jr.'s name. And people are going to say, like, why is that funny? It's hilarious because remember the scathing email that David Morrell Jr. came out with after David Benavidez put out that video saying, no, we were never going to fight David Morrell Jr. Remember Samson Lukowicz was out on every YouTube channel, right? Espanol, English. And he's saying different things. But one thing he kept saying was David Morrell Jr., David Morrell Jr., David Morrell Jr. is going to be the opponent. David Morrell Jr., David Morrell Jr. And then after months of that, David Benavidez does an interview and say, David Morrell Jr., no, I don't know. We never talked about that. No, we're not going to fight that fight. I've never heard that. Never heard that rumor. What are you talking about? You should speak to your promoter. I don't know. But then David Morrell Jr. puts out the scathing email calling David Benavidez a duck and all kind of other names for not fighting him. Because apparently he was supposed to fight him. And David Morrell Jr. has said over and over, the fight that I want is David Benavidez. So much so that if he's going up to 175, guess where I'm going? 175. I'm not staying at 168 to try to fight Mexican Richard Cunningham. I'm not doing that. I'm going up to 175 to chase the Mexican monster, is what I'm doing. He wants that fight so badly, he's willing to go up a weight class to fight David Benavidez. And David Benavidez and his team act like David Morrell Jr. does not exist. So when David Benavidez, once again, this whole interview is a walking contradiction. It's Canelo refuses to fight me. If you stop there, it's okay. Once again, if you stop there, it's okay. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be out here as a competitor saying, this dude doesn't want to fight me. He's ducking me. Good. You're supposed to be saying that. That's fine. But don't attack the fan base, number one. Not smart. And number two, don't bring David Morrell Jr.'s name up when you're the one ducking him. Everything we can say, anything that anybody can say about Canelo when it comes to Benavidez, we can also say when it comes to David Benavidez, we can apply that to David Benavidez and David Morrell Jr. David Morrell Jr. is out there. I want David Benavidez. That's the fight I want. David Benavidez, K? Who? What? No, we don't want that fight. His team is now acting like Morrell Jr., and it's an easy fight to make, by the way. Morrell Jr. said, I'll go to 175. Instead, we get Vodzik with a silent G. And then you're going to have the middle midgets out there say Vodzik with a silent G is a dangerous fight. It's a much more dangerous fight than David Morrell Jr. Really? They're playing this game, and it's part of the scheme. And I pointed out this scheme is the weight class scheme. And it's just because you hop up a weight class. That's more dangerous than if you would have stayed in your weight class and fought someone. So Vodzik with a silent G's at 175. That's a much more dangerous fight than Dave Morrell Jr. at 168. Just like when Tank stepped up to 140 and fought Mateo Barrios. That's a much more dangerous fight than Lomachenko at 135. When guys play these weight games, it could be he can't make the weight anymore, but it's generally I'm avoiding something in my own weight class. I don't want to fight this guy in my own weight class and time is up, so I'm going to move up and fight someone else. And that's why when I say I don't think his days at 168 are numbered, fellas. Like, I think he'll go back down there if Canelo calls his name. I think he can make the weight. I think this weight play is Morrell Jr.'s there, and they don't really want that fight. So it's ironic when he brings up Morrell Jr.'s name. It's ironic. He's avoiding 1 and 2. And it's ironic why. It's a contradiction why, because if anyone is avoiding Morrell Jr., it's David Benavidez. If there's a fight Morrell Jr. wants, it's David Benavidez. Morrell Jr. has brought up David Benavidez's name way more than he's brought up Canelo's name. That's the fight he wants. And that's clearly the fight that David Benavidez does not want, or his team does not want. So it's weird when I see his name get brought up in an interview by David Benavidez. It's unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
He's asking $200 million. Why, when they bring my name up with him, that's the most money he's gonna make. When he fought Amir Khan,
and once again, that's fair. Another fair point. Another 4-second part of the clip where that's fair. He doesn't ask for anywhere close to $200 million for anybody else but me. That's fair. And once again, he has every right to say that. And if you're a Canelo fan, you should not have an issue with him saying Canelo's ducking me or Canelo's asking for a crazy amount of money to fight me and nobody else. That stuff is fair. He has the right to say that stuff. He has the right to say I'm the number one contender. It's the other stuff, right? Like what we're about to hear.
I'll weight him at like 25 pounds. But, you know, I think
Wait a second.
When he fought Amir Khan, I'll weight him at like 25 pounds. But
did you hear that? Let me play it again. This is unbelievable.
The most money he's gonna make. When he fought Amir Khan, I'll weight him at like 25 pounds. But
this is an unbelievable interview. It is unbelievable that not too many people are pointing out the fallacies of it. So first he attacks the base. The first 12, 13 seconds of the video is, or 22 seconds, however long it is, he's attacking the base. And that's just not a smart move. He speaks directly to the base and calls them cult-like and calls them zombies, basically, anyway. Not smart. Then he talks about David Morrell Jr., which is unbelievable. Unbelievable that he would bring up David Morrell Jr.'s name after he's, You could argue if you want to argue Canelo's ducking Benavidez, then you have to also argue that Benavidez is ducking Morrell Jr. Unbelievable that he brings up his name. Also unbelievable, the audacity. The audacity of calling someone a weight bully. The audacity. Absolutely unbelievable. So what has been the big claim levied against David Benavidez by his haters? I mean, it could be any number of things, right? The resume's not strong, but it's also the weight, right? He's a weight bully, they say. And to me, if you make the weight, you make the weight. Once again, I don't like, to me, bring back the same day weigh-ins. To me, if you do this thing where weigh-ins are now 36, 38, 40 hours sometimes before a fight, then it opens up the door for dudes to do stuff like this, but he's doing it within the rules. So to me, he's not a weight bully in those terms. But the audacity of a dude who on fight night unofficially outweighs dudes by 20 to 30 pounds on fight night. He's coming in weighing 200 as a super middleweight unofficially and facing guys who are in their 170s, maybe 180. And he's outweighing them by, say, 25 pounds, fight after fight after fight. The audacity of a guy who is fighting a washed-up middleweight and David Lemieux at super middleweight and outweighing him by 30. Do you remember watching that fight, fellas? Go back after this and watch David Benavidez versus Lemieux. And you want to see a deer getting shot in a cage. That's it. You want to see a dude who outweighs a guy by a lot. That's it. And the audacity of that guy to bring up Amir Khan being outweighed by 25 pounds. Just like I said, well, David Benavidez is doing it within the rules. So did Canelo. I don't understand this. And this is the sad part, fellas, because I don't want to do this. Like, I want to like this dude as a boxing fan. He's entertaining. He looks talented. Family man. He seems like a good dude to me. He really does, man. Like, he seems marketable, but Canelo derangement syndrome destroys people's brain cells is the point of this. It destroys people's brain cells. It does something to where they cannot look in the mirror. They can't do it. They can't look in the mirror and say, you know, it just opens up this thing to where contradictions are everywhere. Everywhere. You'll see it with fan bases too, right? I'm not a fighter. I don't have to go after these fan bases to get them under the umbrella, but like, you'll see Tank's fan base, right? They'll levy claims against other fighters that Tank is guilty of. Pick any of the worst fan bases, Deontay Wilder's, right? And they'll go after Canelo over things. And once again, it's Canelo derangement syndrome. It breaks their brains. It destroys their brain cells. And it did it to Benavidez. And the sad part about this is Benavidez does not need Canelo. He has not needed Canelo to become a star. He could have been a star by now had he just blocked that out, focused on himself, not marinated fights, because there's no need to marinate fights if you're an exciting fighter. And you could have had a built-in fan base right there in the Southwest USA as a Mexican or Ecuadorian fighter, whatever they're calling them. But they weren't busy doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were not building up their own equity. And now they're going to sit back and complain and whine and gnash their teeth about Canelo's equity that he's built up. And if there's a reason that the market's the market, if there's a reason that Canelo can still sell pay-per-views, despite saying things like, you know, I'm going to stick around, but I don't need to fight the fights, then it's because of equity that he built up. Get working on your own. But this is just contradiction after contradiction, this interview.
But, you know, I think it's just he's running out of excuses and running out of things to say, but that's just how it is. I guess that's when you're the cash cow, you can do whatever you want.
When you're the cash cow, you can do whatever you want. So that's how he ends it.
Him, that's the high. That's the most. That's
But
what I wanted to tell you guys
once
too.
again,
I mean, this guy.
once again, listen to this whole interview in its entirety and do what you want with it. But listen to all the contradictions. A lot of the things he's saying about Canelo, this is what you need to keep in mind before we start the video. A lot of things he's saying about Canelo here are things he's guilty of. And that's what Canelo derangement syndrome does. It does not allow you. You're so focused on him and what he's doing and what he's not doing that you're not focusing on what you're doing, what you're guilty of, and what you're not doing and what you need to be doing.
What I wanted to tell you guys too, I mean, this guy, he's making the most money out of everybody. He's charging you guys so much for the pay-per-views. It's like he's spitting in your guys' face, saying that he doesn't give a what you guys want. He's not going to give you the best fights. He's going to fight the fights that he wants. In my opinion, that's a little bit disrespectful to the fans, but he has cult-like fans that, you know, they don't tell him shit and they're happy with whatever he does. But at the end of the day, if you hold all the titles, you got to fight the best in the division. I'm number one in the division, number one contender. The second one is David Morrell. He's not fighting me, nor he's not fighting David Morrell. So it makes no sense. How is he going to call himself the champion and have all these belts if he doesn't fight the number one or the number two guys? He's asking $200 million. Why, when they bring my name up with him, that's the most money he's going to make. When he fought Amir Khan, he outweighed him at like 25 pounds. But, you know, I think it's just he's running out of excuses and running out of things to say, but that's just how it is. I guess that's when you're the cash cow, you can do whatever you want.
So I love how he just ends it with, you can do whatever you want if you're the cash cow. So, yes, D-Style, that's the flaw. He's calling paying customers that he wants, because I would assume he would want that fan base a cult and stupid. It's not smart. It's not smart. Like, it's the thing, like if you're a politician, once again, you're not going to call the other base that you want to come over to your side dumb, cult-like, etc. Right? You don't want to do that because you want to attract that base, and he wants that fan base, I'm sure. But he's not behaving like a fighter that wants that fan base. It's weird. It's weird. The messaging is all off. And once again, man, like I want this dude to be successful. I do. I want this dude to become a star because we need American stars. We need them, and we don't have them. They're going to lie to you and brainwash you into thinking that Tank and Benavidez are stars. They're not stars, because if they were stars, they wouldn't be fighting on the same pay-per-view. And then you're going to have the Al Heyman zombies, because those guys really are zombies. Those guys really are cult-like, because that really is a cult, the PBC cult. That really is a cult. They're going to try to brainwash people into thinking that all of a sudden, out of the goodness of his own heart, Al Heyman and the PBC want quality control, and they want to give you a great card that has multiple stars. That's not what's happening. It's not what's happening. Apparently, they can't sell these dudes to the market. And we're going to find out. We're going to find out, fellas, when these pay-per-view numbers come out, and I'm sure they're going to lie about them anyway. So we'll never know what the real numbers are. We'll never know what the real live gate is, because even that they lie about now. And they have ways of doing that. What we're going to find out over time is these guys aren't stars. We don't have American stars. We only have 13 belts that we own out of 68. We don't have the amount of champions we're supposed to have. We don't have any stars. You can argue Ryan's a star, right? But good luck with that. The dude's wearing motorcycle helmets and handcuffs, getting escorted out of a hotel. Good luck with that. Like, you think that dude's going to be a sustainable star? The dude's got a motorcycle. Like, we're all asking, why does this dude got a motorcycle helmet on? What is that? This dude's going to prison with a motorcycle helmet on. When's the last time you saw that? When's the last time you saw a dude, maybe a biker, maybe a dude they arrested a dude on a motorcycle and they ushered him off with a motorcycle helmet on. When's the last time you seen a dude not get arrested on a motorcycle and go to jail with a motorcycle helmet on? And you think that dude right there is going to be a sustainable star? This dude is wearing a motorcycle helmet and going to jail for trashing a hotel, amongst other things. This dude's predicting earthquakes. And you think he's going to be a sustainable star? We don't have him, fellas. The market has been destroyed. These dudes feel entitled to everything without putting in the work. This is the American culture. It's not just boxing, but boxing is a microcosm of that. Pay me. All right, we'll do something. Look, Tank's exciting. I know, but you got to fight the fights too. Shakur fights the fights, but I mean, like, I'd rather watch grass grow. I'm not going to watch July 6th. I got other stuff to do. I don't even know what yet, but I got other stuff to do. I'll watch Shock Foster fight, but when Shakur's fighting, I got other stuff to do. So these dudes can't put it together. If you could put Tank and Shakur together, beautiful, but you can't. They're two separate people. Tank's exciting, refuses to fight the fights. Shakur will fight the fights, and he's a track star. It's unfortunate. Devin Haney, he hugs more than Barney. It's unfortunate, but that's what we've got in the American market. These dudes are entitled. They feel like they're entitled to things. They're overprivileged. And they're sitting back and complaining about everybody else and everything else. It's like, can one of you dudes put something together? Ryan Garcia does something great. Devin Haney, we think things are going right. And then he's got a body full of Ostralin or whatever it's called. And he couldn't even come in on weight. And then he gets arrested with a motorcycle helmet on days after he predicts earthquakes. It's like, what is that? We want to build the sport around that guy? You expect that guy to be fighting in 3 years and winning big fights? He just got arrested with a motorcycle helmet on. And there's no motorcycle in sight. There's like no motorcycles anywhere. Where did he get a motorcycle helmet from? What was he doing with the motorcycle helmet? And this dude just gets arrested at a hotel with a motorcycle helmet on. Can any young American fighter other than Bam Rodriguez, and dudes are going to come after me for only having 2 American fighters in my top 10 pound for pound list, Bud and Bam. But who else is putting together consistent, great performances against top competition? Who? Name one. Shakur starts doing something, and then he comes in with an injured shoulder or whatever, and then he runs and throws like 2 punches per round. Tank fights Frank, and dudes are doing cartwheels and backflips because he's finally fighting. He's fighting a top 10 lightweight. What's the problem? He's fighting a top 10. Well, finally. And maybe it would have been better if you'd have fought number 1, number 2. If ever there was a guy who needs to fight number 1 and number 2, it's him. But they're going to be focused on Canelo not fighting number 1 and number 2. I'm the bad guy. But it is what it is, man. Like, nobody. Have y'all seen anybody? Have y'all seen a journalist, a writer, any of these guys, any of these content creators from America talk about how Japan now has more belts than America? Have y'all seen any of that? No, I haven't. Maybe those guys are out there, but I don't see them. Somebody should be sounding the alarms. Like, American fighters, American boxing sucks. It's awful. Somebody should be doing it. Maybe somebody in the Bois, maybe somebody in the Boxing Writers Association of America, the Bois, can talk about how American boxing right now sucks and somebody needs to do something about it. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Or just ignore it and continue to watch dudes not get belts. Continue to watch dudes now go overseas and get beat and get beat and get beat. And then we're paying them $80,000 gazillion to fight these fights. And lose and underperform. And then when they are undefeated, I'd rather watch a cow get milked. I don't know. The hell is this? And we got a dude who looks like somewhat of a star, but he's predicting earthquakes, and he lotions. He this dude, y'all know this, right? He showed it. He gels his hair. And look, I wish I had hair, but he gels his hair with lotion, with body lotion. And he got arrested with a motorcycle helmet on. Do you know how weird that is? This dude went to a hotel and thrashed it, $15,000 worth of damage, and there's no motorcycle anywhere, and he got arrested with a motorcycle helmet on. This is where we're at. So shout out to Bam Rodriguez. Drew wants me to hate him, the only sense, but no. And Nando's in the chat thinking that Collazo is better pound for pound than Bam. No. Bam is the one young American fighter who's consistently putting together great performances against top competition. So protect Bam at all costs. And he's about to send Gallo to hell, by the way. Protect Bam at all costs. Top 10 American pound for pound fighter. One of only two, in my opinion. One of only two. These other dudes, you need to get on it. You need to get on it. But one thing I do know is we shouldn't be building the American market around a guy who refused to fight the fights, or a guy who refuses to entertain, or a dude who can do those things but gets arrested with motorcycle helmets on. None of those are sustainable things. We just can't do it. Can somebody be normal? Can somebody just be great and fun and normal? That's all we're asking for. Be great, fun, and normal. That's it. That's the only three you need, and we will flock to you. Believe me, we'll take anything at this point. Anything. Can somebody please just do those three things? Be good, be great, be fun, and just be normal outside the ring. Don't get arrested with motorcycle helmets on. Don't hit pregnant women with your car while you're driving on your booster seat with no license, probably drunk, and then look her in the eyes as she's crying and run away, and then never apologizing for it, and then complaining that the judge is being unfair to you because you can't sit in your mansion for 3 months. Get the hell out of here. Can one of these dudes be great, fun, and normal? Please. That's all we need. Great, fun, normal. That's it. One of you American fighters, please, for the love of God. I'm out. Y'all have a fun weekend. Enjoy watching the fights. I'll see y'all back on here on Monday. Peace. God bless.
You breached